this is a summer of how do you say, where everybody's on cruise control for this. Actually, it's going to be this summer off into the fall. And the primary reason I use the word cruise control is because nobody's doing any super high investment. Nobody's doing any serious, aggressive business choices and stuff, because North America is pretty much all just poised to find out what's going to happen with the election down the States. It will make an absolute horrendous difference who gets elected.
Yeah,
it is, and as the United States goes, so does Canada. Mm-hmm. And so there might be a little small shuffling here and there in Canada or something like this, but we're talking single digit kind of productivity kind of stuff like it. Nothing, no major investments and stuff like that happening at all in the trucking industry or any other industry for that matter. There's at least not that I've heard anywhere in that regards. There's an awful lot of things that are going on. Well, we are now, today is actually July 2nd, so there's a couple of things that have just happened. The first thing is the U.S. Debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Did you see it?
I watched
Part of it.
Part of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speechless.
Speechless. Yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry, I had a Biden moment there.
Oh, no. Do you want me to walk you off stage?
Yeah, a little bit. It was pretty much a very hard to watch.
It was painful.
It is painful.
It was painful.
Biden, if you take a look at his life, he's been in politics 50 years. He was not very bright to start off with. And, I listened to Ben Shapiro and Megyn Kelly, like some of the lawyers, and there's some other ones as well that I watch. Because I like a lawyer's mind. They're very basically objective. I'm not a big fan of Ben Shapiro because he basically says he's brain dead and panels, and get the paddles out and stuff. It's an exaggeration, we know what he's saying. He's talking a little Trumpish, but realistically, I do not think he has dementia. I think he has, number one, he's never had a very disciplined, structured mind. Not a very well-read person. He just does what other people says. He does what other people say. Whatever.
Tell him to do.
Tell him to do. And so that's all he's done for 50 years. He doesn't have to think out of the box. He doesn't have to think like an entrepreneur, because he's just a parrot of some sorts. Mm-hmm. And now he's suddenly in a position where he's supposed to be speaking and not being parroting. Mm-hmm. And his brain is not used to.
That was beyond though.
Yes. Okay. His age. Okay. When you get to 80. Okay. Well, we are all 60. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we've all had brain fart moments.
Everybody does, even 20-year-olds.
Yeah. If people are in high stress situations, things start flying off, and we can't remember things worth crap. You know. And you can be 25 and that can be, I've seen some 18-year-olds who can't think worth a doodle under pressure. But I don't think Biden's problem comes because of high levels of stress. It is when you get older, there's just an erosion of your smarts. It's you can't recall things quite as well, and you can't piece it together, and it's kind of jumbles together a little bit. mathematics, if you study math, whether it's Newton, Albert Einstein, all of the great mathematicians, they did the majority of their really, really good work when they're 20s and 30s and maybe 40s. There's a lot of parallel with in age and, say, for instance, a professional sport like football or hockey or something like that. You only got a small window of opportunity to do the really great work, and then after that, things could start dropping down. And it's the same way mentally, and his mind is just tired, and he knows the talking points, but he just screwed them up because he's not sharp.
But how can you get the economy, COVID, and what was the other one? The border, all mixed up in one sentence.
Yeah, it was really the best. Okay.
Even the Democrats said,
I know. It was just horrible.
Terrible this was.
I've taken a fair bit of schooling, probably a total of 7 years of schooling. Okay, and one of the things. What's that?
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No wonder we can't keep up with you.
And we took debate classes. Okay, and the way it was structured at the master's level is you got a list of things and you choose which topic you want to discuss. And so you go down the list and, okay, all right, here's one thing I really like. Okay, so everybody chooses it. But on the date that you're going to be debating with somebody else, they flip a coin, and that determines whether you are pro or anti, whatever the position was on there. So you had to know both sides, what the positives are on the one argument and the negatives, and you maximize the positives and you minimize the negatives on whichever position that you're on. And then once you've done that, depending on the teacher, sometimes they'll switch it around. And I said, now you do the argument on the other side. Great exercise, so you fully understand both positions.
Yeah,
and then they evaluate you based on your logic and your presentation and your emphasis and stuff like this. That was not a debate on policy. They were calling each other, well, you did this stupid. Well, you did that stupid. Well, you did this. You did that. You did that. And it was just not even mudslinging. Mm-hmm. It was just blaming each other back and forth. Mm-hmm. It was like
5-year-olds.
A kindergarten class. Yeah. Just argued. There was no real logic and policy on it. It was very emotional. And I give, if I was going to give marks to the I'd say probably Trump got a 5 or a 6, because he was quite focused on his mm-hmm. talking points, and I'd give Biden a 1. Mm-hmm. He sort of picked up he actually made a really, really good point. And in the what did he say? The moderator or whatever said about Roe v. Wade.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the abortion issue. And Trump said, leave it to the states, because nothing has really changed. Just leave it to the states. And then Biden says, you can't leave things like as important as abortion to the states. That's like leaving the debate of slavery and Jim Crow or whatever to the states. Some things have to be done federally. Yeah, and it was timed perfectly. Like Trump said what he said, and he just nailed it right there. And I thought, oh, okay, good point. I don't agree with it, but good point. Mm-hmm. And then from there, you know what his very next point was? He started talking about that Texas lady or whatever who got raped and murdered by an immigrant, like an illegal immigrant. Well, what did that have to do with the question that the moderator even said? Mm-hmm. And it was the worst, you want to stay away from that logic. That's something that Trump would bring up, but he brings it up. Worst debate ever. Like, that got him like -2 out of 10. Like, it was terrible. And so he if he had 16 people prepping him for the debate, I'd fire them all. What in the world? I don't even think 16 people even helped him. Probably only one or two. I think when they said, "Oh, here's their 16 people, and they're all going to prep him for," that's just a PR thing. I don't think there's no way in the world that 16 people can even help one person debate. Like, especially somebody who doesn't know how to debate. Like, it's just horrible. So you have to filter through the PR. But it was a terrible, terrible debate performance. Not just because he stammered, but it was just he could not keep logic in his mind. And I don't know if that's I don't know if that is a reflection of Alzheimer's or dementia.
It can be. It can be.
Or
because the speech he gave the next day at a rally, he was vocal and verbal and strong. So I mean, he's, like, his performance is all over the map. But realistically, he had a horrible day. Like, his in there, and realistically, the position of President of the United States is sort of like a job, like a NFL professional sports athlete, or a hockey, NHL, and you have to be on your prime performance all the time.
Yeah.
And you can't just say, "Oh, you invaded that country. I'll just wait. It's 8:00 at night, and I got to take my nap. I'll see you at 10:00 tomorrow morning."
Yeah.
Oh, come on! The world all over the. By then, it's all far too late.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, maybe it's a bad illustration, but when the Allies invaded Normandy. When they took over the beaches, early in the morning at 6, it was about 6:00 in the morning. They're fighting through the beaches and they wired Berlin, said, "Hey, there's a big invasion," and they didn't know what to do because Hitler was still sleeping. He didn't wake up until 11:00 in the morning or something like that, noon or something like that. So nothing got done at all for 6 hours. By then, it only took the worst beach, I think, took 3 hours to get to the pill stations, and so they got their foothold too late. It was too late. Yeah. Then they were. Now the ships can come in and bring in all this, like that. You can't sleep in.
No,
you can't. No. You can't have. There's some jobs that you just can't. Just wait until I finish my nap. You got to do it now.
There was a point I was watching it, and my wife was in and out. She didn't watch it all the time, but I told her, you know what, listening to this is hard work, because they were like you said, they were spatting back and forth, and okay, every once in a while they'd get good economics or good politics in there, and a few little bit of talking. And I at one point I turned the volume off, and I just watched their body language and their facial language. Like, if you want to be the president of a superpower, you got to look on your game and sharp. And like, if you watch all the clips, and this is gonna be a little touchy maybe, but if you watch all the clips where we see Putin on TV, those are all very strong, confident, power pictures. What did we see the other day? You know, it's scary. Like, Trump had very strong facial.
You know who he looked like?
and-
He looked like Mussolini.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. No. But
But you very macho. You know. Very-
the part I recognized in Trump was there was times where he would cock his head and turn his eyes, and he was actually listening to what
was being said without
was
looking
being
at him.
said and contemplate. You could see the gears are turning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh okay. Whereas you look at there was a few more times than I care to think about. You look at Biden, and the mouth is open, the eyes are he sees the headlights of the car coming. What in the world is he like? Just like there is no like the deer in the headlights thing.
Yeah,
It's like, and there, every once in a while he did have good facial structure and whatever you want to call it. But that part scared me. Like
I think
Anyways.
it was such a bad performance that leaders like people in Iran with all of the and Putin and all of the really, really bad actors they're I guess you could say to some degree evil people, like who are just really abusive and vile individuals. They look at that and they say, hey, we got an opportunity.
Yep.
We got to jump in now, because if all of a sudden, and it all looks like Trump's going to win, we got to get it now. So if you look at what's going to happen between now and, say, November, anything can happen.
Yeah.
It is like there's going to be like, whether it's terrorism or whether it's a country being invaded or whatever, now is going to time. Because if the probability that Trump's going to be in, which that's pretty much what it looks like, if they don't get their 10 yards in now, they are not going to get it in.
Well, Russia's already got their warships and submarines in Cuba.
It's
What are they doing there?
well, I think they left now already, didn't they?
I don't know.
I think it was just, but it's like, there's like something big, something really big. Like we're talking, I don't know, some invasional war or something like that.
Yeah.
It's when people see weakness,
It's like animals
watch
on the plains of Africa.
Yeah.
You see one weak person or one weak animal, they're all looking. Yes, we can,
like
there's lunch.
But in business, it's like that though too.
Yep.
If you see somebody who is highly leveraged, and very, very, you go, dang, there we go. And I think you got a toll road in there and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And you have to be on your door, especially an entrepreneur. You have to be on your game, or you just don't survive. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, this really brought a lot of division among the Democrats too.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to get him out, and they're not going to get it. They can't get him out. He said, "I'm not stepping back."
Yeah, and the primary reason is because he's primarily he's proud.
Sure.
And
there's
he's power hungry, you know,
there's
like he's once you're there, then
and
the world.
even over and above that, he's probably more thinking his historical presence on the papers, right? I did a debate. He doesn't want it written. I did a debate. I screwed up, and then I resigned. Well, you don't want that on your history, on your resume, right?
He's already agreed to another debate with Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll probably do better.
But there's a lot of money invested in this game. There's business people that stand to lose millions of dollars if Biden steps aside.
Yeah.
If let's say Hillary, they're going to bring Hillary in and push him aside. These people are standing to lose millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So there's going to be stuff going on. This is This is going to get really
I
interesting.
think I'd prefer Biden.
Yeah, then Hillary.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I would
No,
too.
Did I say Hillary?
Yeah.
Kamala.
Camilla.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's any.
it's
I don't know
it's
if that's
not an
any
improvement.
better.
It's certainly
No.
not an
No.
improvement.
There is no good choice. Like
No.
even Newsom from
Yeah, he's
California. Like this, that guy's absolutely. He has no heart.
He's no, yeah,
Yeah,
he's unbelievable, just arrogant. They don't even like him that much. Well, it's split very much in California too. You have some people just absolutely can't stand the guy, and then now the guys who love him are more than the guys who hate him.
Yeah.
But a very polarizing guy
Yeah.
too.
I watched some of the CNN clips after the debate, and I thought, boy, you never hear them talk so negative about their
Mhm.
leader,
Yeah,
Mhm.
but they were just embarrassed.
yeah,
That's putting it very nicely.
yeah. It's. I think the reason why we have to sometimes talk in Canada about the States is because it's such a huge impact on us.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can at all judge what's going to go on, because there is a mirroring effect, like in the United States, if you take a look at the Democratic Party, okay, the real power brokers in United States, it's President Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and they're all in their 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And they have not brought in younger people to take over. Obama came in, and he was a one-off. It was just like sort of a 1 in a million, and he scooted through and took over because Hillary was supposed to be like she was the destined or whatever. So he's a one-off, a total one-off. He's whatever 60 years of age, and so he's got another 10, 20 years in him. But there is no young person other than Gavin Newsom, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But he's far too controversial. He's not going to win if he would do that. And realistically, they have no. That mirrors an awful lot. Like I've read a lot of books, everything from Stalin, like a lot of history books. I love reading history books. And I read Mao's biography, well, as far as I could before I said that's enough, because it's gross. It's like some of the murderous, torture, barbaric, just horrible stuff. Eventually I said, you know what? I gotta stop this because this is too gross. But realistically, what Mao did was he built up the people underneath him by building up him. He took more and more, and whenever he would see somebody who had good, strong leadership and he would bring the fold in with him, and then he would kill that guy, and so he had the bigger fold. And then he would.
The guy, people that were threatening
a
threat to him.
Yeah, anybody who was a threat to him, which in other words, he had to be a competent, a leadership kind of a person, he'd kill. And so in the end, what do you have? You have it's like a narrow tower of power. What happens when he passes away? Well, then they fight like crazy just to get the one person. Okay, now there's one. The diversity of thought and the diversity of that's really where the strength is, where you have if controversy and you work through difficult issues or whatever. There is nothing. So they had stupid things that they would enact, like the one-child policy. We got too many people, so we're going to go down to one child, so nobody could have more than one person. So they did that and then all of a sudden they ran the numbers and go, oh crap, our population is going to go down. So now you can have two, and now you can have three. Well, now the people see that there's going to be a problem, so nobody has multiple children like that. So there was another one where what was it? Like Mao didn't like sparrows or something like that, so he killed a whole bunch of sparrows. And he said, no, I want to get rid of all of the sparrows. So it was his brainchild to say, get rid of all the sparrows. So then they get unbelievable amount of sparrows being killed, and then you have an overabundance of bugs and all sorts of whatever creepy crawly things or whatever, and created a huge drought. Just see what happens when there is such a narrow form of leadership, and it's like that in Nazism too, where Hitler's one by one got rid of generals or whatever, and so you one dictator is up there, and that's very much what's happening with Putin too. Like Putin, he is the dictator, and he doesn't have a very broad understanding. He's got maybe a few dozen people who are very powerful, but that's not big enough for a country. And it's the same way with the Democratic Party in the States. They don't have so what's going to happen in the next 10 years? Whew. You look at when Trump went through the primary. Well, what are there again? Another 12, 14 individuals all fighting and not fighting, but all debating to try and beat him out. Well, that's a broad thing. You need that for the future strength of the. They have some great people, very educated people. In Canada, it's like that too. You take a look at the Conservative Party in Canada. They have a broad base of really talented individuals. And whereas you look at the Liberal Party and you got one with a few minions and that's it. And the reason why they can't get rid of Justin Trudeau is because there's nobody else that has that level of appeal, because basically they alienate themselves. Very, very poor leadership when you don't allow diversity of thought, and the power has to be or the authority has to be pushed down, and the responsibility has to go up. But
there's always I think there's always in business in pastors too. There's always that they don't want anybody close to them that is a threat. They think they're a threat. So instead of them building these people up and stepping back and letting them go, no, they suppress them. And then it puts that much pressure on them.
You can grow really, really fast as an autocratic leader, in a business, religion, or whatever. But it doesn't have the stamina. It doesn't have this, it has to have broad leadership in order for it to have longevity. And
I think it was Kevin O'Leary I was listening to, and he says he definitely doesn't have the skills to run every piece of his business. And he's always looking for someone who can do it better than him.
Very smart.
But they still have to answer to him.
Correct.
So if that person is doing his job and starting to take over, Kevin, you still have to maintain that level of authority over everything. But it's a different thinking than just you fire him and get rid of.
No.
If the guy's producing results,
and
it's in his pro. Let him go.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Subscribing to this channel provides you regular access to professional advice on independent operators. If you want to support us, like, share, and turn on that notification.
Thanks for stopping by Making Your Miles Count. For further Making Your Miles Count productions, call us at 877-987-9787 or download us at makingyourmilescount.com.